My son won the spelling bee, and now we're in a safe house. Dylan has always been terrible at spelling. The kid once spelled restaurant as restaurant and argued his version made more sense. So when his school announced he'd be competing in the regional spelling bee, I assumed it was some participation trophy situation. The morning of the competition, I asked if he was nervous. Not really, he said. I've got it handled. That should have been my first warning sign. Dylan has never had anything handled in his entire 11 years of life. We arrived at the auditorium, and I watched Dylan join the other kids on stage. The competition started normally. Kids spelled words like necessary and occurrence, while parents recorded everything. Then it was Dylan's turn. Your word is surveillance, the judge said. There was no way Dylan knew how to spell that. He once spelled Wednesday as Wednesday, and insisted spell check was broken. Dylan leaned into the microphone. Surveillance, S-U-R-V-E-I-L-L-A-N, surveillance. That is correct. I stared at my son like he'd just spoken fluent Mandarin. Round after round, Dylan spelled every word perfectly. Pneumonia, rhythm, bureaucracy. Words I wasn't even sure I could spell. The other parents whispered, impressed by this spelling prodigy. But I wasn't impressed. I was terrified. Because Dylan doesn't study. He plays Fortnite until 2 a.m. and argues that homework violates his human rights. There was no possible way he knew these words. By the final round, it was down to Dylan and a girl from a private school. The judge gave Dylan his word. Pseudonym. Dylan didn't hesitate. Pseudonym. S-E-U-D-O-N-Y-M. Pseudonym. That is correct. Dylan is our regional champion. The auditorium erupted in applause. I stayed in my seat, watching Dylan accept his trophy with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. On the drive home, I asked how he knew all those words. I studied, he said, staring out the window. Since when do you study? Since I wanted to win. His voice was flat, rehearsed. This wasn't my son talking. That night I searched his backpack after he fell asleep. No study materials, nothing. Then I checked his laptop. His browser history had been completely wiped. I checked his email and found his inbox empty except for one message from an address I didn't recognize. You did well today. We'll be in touch. My hands started shaking. The next morning, I drove Dylan to school but parked across the street and watched. A black sedan pulled up. Two men in suits got out and walked toward the entrance. They moved with the kind of purpose that made my stomach twist. I called Dylan's cell phone. Dad, I'm in class. Get out of the building right now. Go to the back exit and wait for me. Dad, what's... Now Dylan. I drove around back. Dylan came running out, his face pale. Get in. He jumped into the car and I floored it. I kept checking the rearview mirror, but the road stayed empty. Dad, what's going on? Tell me the truth. How did you win that spelling bee? Dylan's eyes filled with tears. They made me. Who made you? I don't know their names. They came to our house when you were at work last month. They said if I didn't do what they told me, they'd hurt you. My heart stopped. What did they tell you to do? They gave me a list of words to memorize. They said I had to win the spelling bee. They said someone important would be watching, and winning would prove I could follow instructions. Then it hit me. 6 months ago, I'd witnessed a murder outside a convenience store. I'd given a statement to the police, but they told me the suspect had fled the country. They'd lied. I pulled into a gas station and dialed the detective. We need to talk. Now, 2 hours later, federal marshals showed up at a hotel. They confirmed what I already knew. The man I'd witnessed killing someone was part of an organized crime family, and they'd been looking for leverage to keep me from testifying. They were going to use your son, the marshal explained. The spelling bee was a test. If he won, it proved they had control over your family. How did they even know he was in a spelling bee? They've been watching you for months. The marshals drove us to a safe house that night. Dylan sat in the back seat, still holding his trophy. He looked at me with tears streaming down his face. I'm sorry, Dad. I didn't know what else to do. I pulled him close. You did exactly right. You kept yourself safe, and you trusted me when it mattered. We've been here for 3 weeks now. New names, new location, new lives waiting for us after the trial. Dylan had to leave his trophy behind because the marshals said it could be traced. Last night, he asked me if he could compete in spelling bees again someday. I told him maybe, but only if he actually studies this time. He smiled for the first time since this started. Deal.